to round with the Liberals for 5 minutes. Anthony Housefather. Anthony, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. And I want to thank each and every one of the witnesses. And Reynolds, I want to thank you for reminding us that traditional Canadian broadcasting has also been seen outside of Canada. I know when we were kids, it was Degrassi. Today, Schitt's Creek, but it's hardly YouTubers that have been the first ones to have ever export their content out of Canada. I also want to say that we're coming at this bill. We haven't talked about this a lot today from a cultural point of view, but also the protection of French original content in Canada. We do have a French-speaking minority in this country that we do need to protect and promote. And I say this, by the way, Mr. McCullough, not to come at you unfairly. I am a proud Canadian who lives in Quebec, who's a Quebecer, who is against Bill 96, who's against Bill 21, has spoken out against those things. But I also believe you have a right to be a French-speaking Canadian and live anywhere in this country and be comfortable, and be an English-speaking Canadian and live in Quebec and be comfortable. And that's why I want to ask you about a couple of things that you said about bilingualism. I found an article where you called French an exotic, dying language, utterly irrelevant to the ordinary lives of most Canadians. I've also found the article that you wrote saying that bilingualism is a threat to Canadian democracy. So let me ask you, as a national government, part of C-11 is protecting the French fact across Canada. And I'm asking this question to you in English, not in French, because I'm not trying to score political points on it. Can you tell me why you believe that bilingualism is a threat to Canadian democracy, and whether or not you believe the federal government should not have a role to play in protecting French culture across Canada?
You know, Madam Chair, I do not believe that this is the topic of this committee's discussion. Are not here to have...
Excuse me, I'm sorry, sir, but the committee knows exactly what its topic is. It's Bill C-11. Thank you. Please answer the question.
I don't really feel like it's appropriate, Madam Chair, to have a conversation about my views on bilingualism. That does not strike me as the topic of conversation this afternoon.
Do not make those decisions, sir.
Madam Chair, it's okay. I appreciate your jumping in, but I guess, Mr. McCullough, I do believe this bill is about bilingualism. I believe this bill is about ensuring that English language minority content in Quebec and French language minority content in the rest of the country is treated with respect, and that we give the opportunity for people in both languages to express themselves across this country and develop their own original programs. This committee in the last parliament adopted many amendments, Mr. McCullough, to this bill that dealt with this very issue, and we've had many witnesses that have come talk to us about how important this is. So I guess my question is again to you, sir, about this bill. Do you believe that it is fair in C-11, which is an important part of C-11, that the federal government is protecting French content and French original creation of content across Canada in all forms?
I do not believe that it is the role of the government to impress upon Canadians French content if they don't want it. If Canadians want to watch French YouTube videos, say, there is nothing to prevent them from discovering those videos and watching them. I do not believe it is appropriate for the government to sort of, pass laws or regulations or mandates that would, say, force YouTube to, impose French content on YouTube or on YouTube users who don't want to watch that, right? That just to me seems kind of preposterous. I think that this should be ultimately a consumer-driven phenomenon. What consumers want to consume is what they should be free to consume. I don't think it's the role of government to tell them to watch more French videos, to tell them to watch more videos on X, Y, or Z. I don't think it has anything to do with French. It has everything to do with sort of consumer demand. And that's my perspective, because I believe in a free market, and I believe in a free market approach to culture. I don't believe in the idea of a government knows best approach to culture, in which politicians or bureaucrats or whatever get together and sort of say, well, you know what Canadians need to watch more of? It's this, that, and that, and we should use the strength and the power of government to force this into their YouTube feeds or their subscription feeds or onto their airwaves or onto the radio or whatever. That's my opinion. I know that that's perhaps not your opinion, but that's what I believe. I believe in the freedom of consumer choice, and I believe that content should sink or swim based on its popularity.
And I'm giving you the opportunity to express those views here at this committee, and all of Canadians can hear exactly what you think about that, which is important, and which wouldn't have happened in Viktor Orban's Hungary probably, and wouldn't have happened in a lot of the different countries that you've compared the totalitarian regimes to as you've been talking about this bill. So can I ask you, in terms of your comparison, Ms. Thomas just asked you, and you yourself brought up Hungary, you've also compared it to China and Russia. why do you believe that this bill is about ideologically motivated censorship and thought control? Because that's essentially what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying thought control, but I mean, don't you think that there are some analogies here? Like if the Chinese established a bill like this and said that we're doing this to protect our cultural sovereignty from sort of the evil foreigners and their bad foreign ideas that will corrupt our culture, like, wouldn't you find that problematic?
I just think we're reading a different bill.
No, but don't you agree, like, in the same grounds, right? Like, don't you think that there's something... Sorry?
A second, please. I was asked a question. I need to answer it. How much time do you have left, Mr. Housefather? You have a minute.
A minute. Okay. So again, I don't think I'm reading the same bill.
No, but I'm saying to you, like, don't you think that there's something problematic about a government that says we need to protect our cultural sovereignty? What would you think if the Chinese said that? Wouldn't you find that problematic?
They say that.
I would think that the Chinese would want to protect Chinese cultural sovereignty, but would do so in a very different way than Canada. In China, you have government that tells people what they need to think, what they need to say, and if they don't say it properly, they can be thrown in prison and they can be put all over. They could suffer terrible consequences.
What are the consequences?
That doesn't happen in Canada. It's my time.
Yes.
That doesn't happen in Canada. I'm trying to answer your question, Mr. McCullough.
Yes.
In Canada, you can come to a parliamentary committee and say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want on your YouTube channel. There's nothing in this bill, and let me be very clear about it, nothing in this bill that takes away your right to freedom of speech in this country. It is a protected right under Section 2 of the Charter, and it is absolutely protected under this bill. And thank you, Madam Chair, for the time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Housefather. And now I think we are going to end our witnesses' question and answer period because we have to go into a business meeting right now. So I just want to thank the witnesses for coming. I want to thank them for their patience while we waited to vote and then thought we could start and then had to go back to a vote. So I want to thank you very much. You offered a lot of insight into some of the complex questions that we on this committee are hearing. And so I want to thank you for coming. And I would like clerk to suspend so that everyone can leave and we can begin our business meeting.